Hi everyone, welcome to this week's Beyond the School Run video vlog. This week I am talking about chapter 4 of my book, A New Way for Mothers. And this chapter talks about finding your flow. And it's such an interesting subject because it's something I'd never ever experienced before until I started developing Beyond the School Run and exploring all the theories that I discuss in my book. And this is something I thought was really just available to athletes or musicians or something, but actually what I've discovered is it's available to all of us, and I outline in this book some really key steps to understanding how to identify your flow, because when you're working in short periods of time, or possibly in the holiday period where you're going from looking after the children to work, is finding those tools to set you up to work in flow are hugely beneficial, because it just means that you work much more efficiently, you don't question your work, it's almost like you sort of don't notice anything else other than the fact that you are just producing this work. And it's a really worth working on getting yourself set up to become as often as possible in the process of flow. So this chapter 4 of my book, A New Way for Mothers, really focuses on this and helps us and often reminds me about how we can go about it and go about looking. And one of the steps is really looking about how you set yourself up in the morning, what your morning rituals are and what your habits are, and possibly looking at those daily habits that you have that may be sort of impacting you and possibly your energy levels. So really kind of reviewing how you start your day to kind of set you up and get you in a kind of process of flow throughout the day. Creating a flexible routine. I think this is something that we all learn when we have children, is maintaining a level of flexibility. So really keeping a routine that works for you, that you know works for you, whatever those things are, whether it's meditation or exercise, but also keeping it fairly flexible, because we know how often things can also change. Another area I talk about in this chapter is making your weekends work for you, because that will have such an impact on the start of your week. So again, I share tips, and I think this is something that's really important, because it can be quite exhausting otherwise, your weekends, and then you start your week quite exhausted. So it's really important to kind of really look at how your weekend works as a parent and how it sets you up for your week ahead. And then I go and talk about school holidays, which obviously is coming up, and there's a few tips and suggestions in there about how we maintain an element of our flow and routine in that time, and however possible, look at maintaining parts of that routine, but then also enjoying the kind of change in schedule for us all, but maintaining an element of your routine and to enable you to kind of focus on work throughout that period, and tips on how you can best go about doing that. And then finally in this chapter, I look at really kind of the whole period of starting fresh, which autumn feels like a real time of renewal and starting fresh. And also finally in this chapter, it really looks at the fact that it's not a race, that this really is to pace ourselves, that we've all got our own individual journeys. Collectively, there's no doubt we can make a difference together, but really kind of recognising the fact it isn't a race, working hard, but really understanding that we'll all get to where we need to at the right time. So I hope that serves you well this week. Much more in my book, A New Way for Mothers, which is available on Amazon, in various WH Smith stores and online stores. And I look forward to sharing other chapters with you next week. Many thanks.